My daughter refused my invitation to her wedding because she thought I was a poor loser. "You'll ruin the atmosphere," she said, laughing. But when she saw my new $200,000 Mercedes, she called me in a panic. "Come, Dad, I was joking." I smiled. Betrayal hurts, but justice is sweeter. I prepared a surprise that would turn their happiness upside down. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. The pasta sauce bubbled on the stove, filling my Austin apartment with the smell of tomatoes and basil. I stirred it slowly, watching the wooden spoon create lazy circles through the thick red mixture. My phone vibrated against the granite countertop. Unknown number, Houston area code. I hesitated. 3 years of silence had taught me not to hope. But something made me answer. "Hello?" "Hi, Dad." The voice hit me like ice water. "Teresa." My daughter's tone dripped with artificial sweetness, the kind she'd perfected during her teenage years when she wanted something expensive. My grip tightened on the wooden spoon. Sauce splattered onto the stovetop, hissing against the hot surface. "Teresa." "Guess what? I'm getting married." She didn't wait for my response. "To Lemuel Beaumont." "Yes, Dad. That Beaumont family. The oil dynasty." The spoon felt heavy in my hand. Through the kitchen window, Austin's skyline glittered in the evening light, the Frostbank Tower standing like a beacon against the darkening sky. "That's... Congratulations." "I knew you'd be excited." Her laugh was sharp, brittle. "Anyway, I'm calling to tell you about my wedding, not to invite you to it." The sauce continued its steady bubble. I watched a particularly large bubble form and pop, leaving a small crater that slowly filled back in. My voice remained steady. "I see." "Oh, don't act hurt. What would people think, seeing my father in his Target clearance rat clothes standing next to the Beaumonts? Their friends own half of River Oaks. You still rent a one-bedroom in East Austin." Each word landed precisely where she intended. My free hand gripped the counter edge until my knuckles went white. Outside, a plane traced its path toward Bergstrom Airport, its lights blinking steadily through the Texas twilight. The ceremony will be at their estate in Houston. 500 guests. Senators, CEOs, people who matter. She paused, letting that sink in. "You understand, right? The guests will be of a certain caliber, and you, well, you're still the same." The wooden spoon clattered against the pot's edge. "Fine, be happy." "Dad, I'm not finished." I hung up. The phone screen went dark, reflecting my face back at me, tired eyes, graying temples, jaw clenched tight enough to ache. The smoke alarm shrieked. While I'd been frozen in place, the sauce had transformed from dinner into a charred mess. Black smoke curled toward the ceiling. I mechanically turned off the burner, carried the ruined pot to the sink, and dumped everything down the disposal. Standing there, watching red-black sludge disappear into the drain, a memory surfaced unbidden. Teresa, at 12, flower in her dark hair, laughing as we made this same recipe together. "Daddy, I added too much garlic," she'd giggled, her eyes bright with mischief. "Now it's vampire-proof pasta." We'd eaten it anyway, both of us pretending it wasn't overwhelming, sharing secret smiles across the table. "Daddy, you're the best cook ever," she'd said then, hugging me with sauce-stained hands. The contrast sat in my chest like a stone. I walked to the window, my reflection overlapping with the city lights. The Capitol dome glowed in the distance, a reminder of the Texas government contracts that had kept my engineering firm afloat through lean years. Below, my neighbor's Mercedes gleamed under the parking lot. Lights, a car worth more than I'd made in the last 2 years combined. The irony wasn't lost on me. My phone lit up with a text notification. The screen's glow seemed too bright in the darkening apartment. I stood there, sauce-splattered shirt cooling against my skin, watching that small rectangle of light pulse against the countertop. The text was from my sister in San Antonio, an old photo of Teresa's high school graduation attached. Her message simple. "Have you heard from Teresa lately?" That single question cracked something open. I left the phone on the counter and walked to my home office, each step feeling heavier than the last. The hallway seemed longer tonight, family photos on the walls watching my progress like silent witnesses. The memory crashed over me without warning, transporting me back to March 2022. Different apartment then, smaller, in the Riverside area. Teresa dragging 2 designer suitcases toward the door, gifts from her latest boyfriend, some tech executive who'd already moved on to someone younger. I'm tired of living like this. She gestured around the cramped living room with disgust. Look at yourself, Dad. You're 55 and still renting, still driving that ancient Honda, still shopping at second-hand stores. I tried to stay calm, standing between her and the door. Teresa, please, let's talk about this. Talk? Her laugh was cruel, nothing like the girl who'd once made vampire-proof pasta. I'm done talking. I'm going to find a man who can actually provide. Someone successful. Not a failure who peaked in college. Your mother wouldn't want... Don't. Her voice turned venomous. Mom died because she gave up. Just like you gave up. Content with mediocrity. With barely scraping by. Well, I'm not her. And I'm definitely not you. The words had knocked the breath from me. Sarah had fought cancer for 3 years before it won. Fought with everything she had. I'm starting fresh, Teresa had continued, dragging her suitcases past me. Don't call me. Don't text. Don't show up at my work. I'm done with your poverty dragging me down. The door had slammed hard enough to knock our family portrait off the wall. Glass shattered across the floor. My hands shook as I'd picked up the pieces, Sarah's smile beaming up at me through the spiderweb of cracks. That was the beginning of my attempted reconciliations. 47 unanswered calls over 3 years. I'd counted everyone. Birthday cards returned unopened, refused, stamped across them in red ink, blocked on every social media platform. The worst was when I'd driven to Houston 6 months later, waited outside her downtown office building. Security had escorted me out before she'd even come down, warned me about trespassing charges if I returned. Each rejection hurt less than the last, like nerve endings finally going numb. Back in the present, I found myself in my office, staring at the desk photo from her college graduation. University of Texas. Both of us in burnt orange, her diploma raised triumphantly. My finger traced her smiling face through the glass. She'd been so proud that day. We'd been proud together. My laptop pinged. An email notification popped up in the corner. Marcus Chen, my business partner. The subject line preview read, Urgent, Japanese delegation, but I couldn't focus on it yet, not with ghosts still dancing through the room. The burned sauce smell had followed me here, clinging to my clothes. My small apartment felt smaller tonight, the walls pressing in. Outside, 6 streets distant music drifted up, Austin's perpetual party continuing without me. Through the window, the city sprawled in all directions, towers rising where bungalows used to be, the city transforming faster than I could keep up with. I looked back at the graduation photo, then at the empty spaces on my shelf where other family photos used to live, removed one by one as they became too painful to see daily. The laptop pinged again. Marcus's name blinked insistently in my inbox. I forced myself to click on Marcus's email. The subject line expanded. Urgent, Japanese delegation confirmed. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. The shift from personal agony to professional focus was like switching channels in my brain, a practiced survival mechanism I'd perfected over 3 lonely years. My shoulders straightened as I read. The Yamamoto Corporation had agreed to review our revolutionary battery storage system. The technical specifications filled my screen. Complex algorithms I'd spent 3 years perfecting, efficiency rates that would change renewable energy forever. My fingers moved across the keyboard, pulling up presentations, checking calculations one more time. Marcus's text buzzed through. They're interested, Homer. Really interested. Legal says if they sign, we're looking at $50 million minimum after expenses. Each. A smile tugged at my mouth. Small, but genuine. The first since Teresa's call had shattered my evening. Strange. Here I was, 12 hours from potentially closing the biggest deal of my career, wearing a sauce-stained shirt in a modest apartment my daughter was ashamed of. The contrast was almost funny. Almost. I moved to the kitchen, mechanically scrubbing the burned pot. Each circular motion became meditation, steel wool against carbonized sauce, removing layers of failure. The ruined dinner went into the trash with a wet thud, old expectations discarded along with burned tomatoes. My closet held 3 suits. The best one, navy blue from JCPenney, hung in its dry cleaning bag. I laid it across my bed, smoothing invisible wrinkles. From my dresser drawer, I retrieved my father's cufflinks, sterling silver with his initials, HJC, the only valuable thing he'd left me. Homer James Carroll. 3 generations of Homer Carrolls, and the line would end with me. The ironing board squeaked as I set it up. Each pass of the iron was deliberate, creating sharp creases in the pants, perfect lines in the shirt. This was control. This was something I could perfect. In the bathroom mirror, I studied my reflection, not the failure Teresa described, an inventor who'd sacrificed weekends, vacations, relationships to chase a dream of sustainable energy, a man who'd paid for his daughter's private schools and UT education by working 3 contracts simultaneously, whose wife's medical bills had drained every savings account, every investment, every safety net. What would Teresa say if she knew about tomorrow? The question escaped before I could stop it. But I already knew. She'd probably claim she always believed in me, that family was everything, that she'd been waiting for the right moment to reconcile. Money had a way of healing rifts, at least superficially. No, I told my reflection firmly, that chapter's closed. Back at my laptop, I reviewed the final contracts. The Japanese consortium's terms were clear. Full patent licensing, manufacturing rights for Asia, royalties that would generate wealth for decades. My phone showed 11:47 p.m. Tomorrow would arrive soon enough. I walked past Teresa's old room, now my secondary office, stopped briefly in the doorway, remembering her at 16, studying for SATs at the desk I'd built from scratch. She'd gotten a perfect score on the math section. "Dad, you taught me to think like an engineer," she'd said then. The kitchen clock ticked steadily, marking seconds, minutes, hours. Below, my neighbor's party had grown louder, laughter and music spilling into the night, life continuing its rhythm while mine prepared to change course. I set my alarm for 5 a.m., placed my phone face down on the nightstand. The empty space on the other nightstand seemed larger tonight, where Sarah's photo used to sit, where Teresa's childhood drawings once accumulated. Looking at my simple digital watch, the numbers glowed. 12:03 a.m., technically tomorrow, the day everything would change. But tonight's pain still sat heavy in my chest, a weight that $50 million wouldn't lift. The sheets felt cold as I slipped into bed. Outside, Austin hummed its midnight song, sirens, music, the distant rush of I-35. Tomorrow the Japanese delegation would see my work, would understand its value. Tonight, though, I was still the man whose daughter was ashamed of him. I woke at 5 a.m. The alarm hadn't been necessary. My body knew today mattered more than any day in the past 3 years. Steam filled the bathroom as I shaved with an engineer's precision, each stroke calculated, methodical. The JCPenney suit fit perfectly, my father's cufflinks catching the morning light as I fastened them. My phone screen showed nothing from Teresa. Expected, but the absence still registered. Mrs. Chen from 4B was collecting her newspaper when I stepped into the hallway. "Big day today, Homer?" She'd lived here 15 years, watched me go from family man to whatever I was now. "Something like that, Mrs. Chen." The elevator descended to the underground garage, fluorescent lights flickering across concrete walls. I walked past the usual collection of Toyotas and Hondas, my footsteps echoing. Around the corner, in the reserved section I'd started paying for 6 months ago, it waited. The Maybach S680 seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Obsidian black, chrome details precise as surgical instruments. I ran my hand along the hood, remembering when $10 for gas meant skipping lunch. The leather seats exhaled softly as I settled in, that particular smell of wealth I still wasn't accustomed to. James, the building's concierge who'd started 6 months ago, fresh out of college, still eager, was arranging packages when I passed through the lobby. "Good morning, Mr. Carroll. Your Maybach is pristine as always." Mr. Carroll. The title still felt like wearing someone else's clothes. "Thank you, James. The valet mentioned you had it detailed yesterday? Special occasion?" "Just a meeting." I kept walking, the marble floor reflecting morning light streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. Austin's streets told 2 stories as I drove. The Maybach glided past my old bus stop on Riverside, where I'd waited in rain 3 years ago, laptop bag wrapped in plastic. At the red light on Congress Avenue, a city bus pulled alongside. Through its windows, tired faces stared ahead, the expression I'd worn for decades. NPR droned about Austin's tech boom, wealth inequality, gentrification. I switched it off. Silence was better company for the 15-minute drive to downtown. Lake Travis glinted in the distance as I took Mopac, the morning sun painting everything gold. October 2022. That's when everything changed, though nobody knew it yet. Marcus and I in my garage-turned-laboratory at 2 a.m., surrounded by failed prototypes and empty coffee cups. The breakthrough came suddenly, a configuration nobody had tried because it seemed too simple. We ran the test 5 times, not believing the efficiency numbers. "Homer, this is it. This is actually it," Marcus had whispered, as if speaking too loudly might break the spell. The first investor meeting was painful. 5 venture capitalists in a 6th Street conference room, barely hiding their smirks at the old guy with the garage startup. Then we ran the demonstration. The smirks disappeared. The bidding war started before we'd finished packing up. We chose strategic partners over the highest bidder, a decision that paid off when government contracts started flowing. Carroll Energy Solutions occupied the top 3 floors of the Frostbank Tower. Now, the valet took my keys with the reverence reserved for vehicles worth more than houses. Through the marble lobby, employees nodded, that careful distance between respect and familiarity. Nobody knew about Teresa, about the years before. The executive elevator rose smoothly, Austin shrinking below. 20 minutes until the Japanese delegation arrived. Enough time to... The doors opened. Marcus stood there, tablet in hand, his expression making my stomach drop. "Homer, you need to see this before the Japanese arrive." The tablet screen glowed between us, but he hadn't turned it toward me yet. The 4 days since signing the Japanese deal had been a blur of lawyers and accountants, paperwork that transformed theoretical millions into real ones. I sat at my desk, finally having a quiet moment, staring at the framed first dollar our company had earned. Marcus's idea. Cheesy but meaningful. Marcus entered without knocking, our friendship transcending office protocol. His face wore that expression I'd learned to dread, the one that meant personal drama was about to intrude on professional success. "You need to see what your daughter posted." He thrust his tablet forward, Instagram already loaded. Teresa Living Lux. Even her username made me wince. The engagement party photos were professionally shot, the Beaumont Estates columns and manicured gardens serving as backdrop. Teresa, in a white dress that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, Lemuel beside him in a tux that screamed old money. Her caption read, "Some people stay small, while others of us reach for greatness." Belonging, where it meant Beaumont life, leveling up. "Keep scrolling," Marcus said quietly. The comments section was a masterclass in subtle cruelty. Someone had asked, innocently enough, "Is your dad coming to the wedding? Family is everything." Teresa's public response twisted the knife. Why would I invite someone who never achieved anything? This is about surrounding ourselves with success. Then Marcus scrolled to the next screenshot. Austin Business Weekly had posted a photo from yesterday, me standing beside the Maybach after the Japanese signing. The headline reading, "Carroll Energy Solutions secures 100 Namarsh deal." They'd tagged it. "Local CEO Homer Carroll celebrates historic agreement with Japanese consortium." The comments exploded. Teresa's friend, "Wait, is this your dad? The energy company guy?" Another, "Girl, your dad drives a Maybach?" Someone else, "Carroll Energy was just valued at $500 million. Marcus showed me Teresa's profile in real time. "Watch this." The insulting comments were disappearing one by one. Her fingers must have been flying across her phone screen. Then a new post appeared. "So proud of my daddy's incredible success. Family businesses are everything. Can't wait to celebrate together." "She's been calling you for the past hour," Marcus said, gesturing to my silenced phone. 17 missed calls. As I looked, the 18th came through. "Don't answer," Marcus advised. "Let her sweat." "No." I picked up the phone. "I want to hear this." "Daddy!" Teresa's voice was an octave higher than usual, dripping with manufactured sweetness. "Oh my goodness, I just saw the news about your company. This is incredible." Silence from my end. "I'm so sorry about the other day. Wedding planning is just so stressful, you know. I didn't mean any of it." Still nothing from me. "You know my sense of humor, Dad. I was joking." "Obviously." You're invited to the wedding. Of course you're invited. You're my only family. The transformation was remarkable, from Ice Queen to devoted daughter in under 30 seconds. Lemuel is dying to meet you. He just loves successful entrepreneurs. Says we could really use someone with your experience in the family. Maybe we could discuss some family investments. The Beaumont portfolio could use some tech diversity. There it was, they ask. The wedding is July 15th at the Four Seasons Houston. Black tie, of course. You'll sit at the family table. The Beaumonts will be so impressed. Send me the details, I said, my voice neutral as water. You'll come? Really? Relief flooded through the phone. I'll be there. Daddy, this means everything. We have so much catching up to do. Maybe dinner next week, the three of us. Lemuel knows this wonderful place in River Oaks. Send the details, I repeated, then hung up. Marcus was shaking his head. Homer, you know she only wants your money. She's being so obvious about it, he continued, pacing now. This is pure manipulation. I stood at the window, Austin sprawling below. The Colorado River wound through downtown like a snake, dividing old Austin from new. I know exactly what she wants. Then why? And she's going to get exactly what she deserves. Marcus stopped pacing. He knew that tone, my engineering voice, the one that meant I was solving a problem, working through variables toward an inevitable solution. I opened my laptop, fingers hovering over the keyboard, then typed, Private investigators, Austin, Texas, discrete corporate background checks. The search results populated immediately. Third one down. Walker Investigations, Premium Discrete Services, Former FBI, Corporate Intelligence. My cursor hovered over the link. 5 days after Teresa's call, I sat in an unremarkable office building off Lamar Boulevard, the kind of place you'd drive past 1,000 times without noticing, perfect for James Walker's line of work. Walker himself was exactly what you'd expect from former FBI. Gray temples, eagle eyes that missed nothing, compact build that suggested he could still handle himself despite being north of 50. His office was minimal, one family photo, some commendations on the wall, a coffee maker that had seen better decades. You want dirt on your own daughter? He didn't judge, just clarified. I want the truth. Walker nodded, fingers already moving across his laptop. Timeline? Wedding's July 15th. Plenty of time. I'll need names, social media handles, known associates. I provided everything, speaking without emotion, like listing technical specifications. Walker took notes in a physical notebook. Old school, no digital trail. 3 weeks passed in a careful routine. I ran the company, attended meetings, signed contracts worth millions, all while Walker worked in the shadows. We met weekly, never in the same place twice. Coffee shop on South Congress, bench in Zilker Park, food truck on Rainey Street. Austin's constant movement providing perfect cover. Each meeting, Walker's folder grew thicker. Financial records, social media analytics, credit reports. The picture forming was exactly what I'd suspected, but worse. April 15th, tax day, appropriately enough. We sat on opposite ends of a bench in Zilker Park, spring wildflowers blooming around us, families playing frisbee in the distance. Walker's folder was massive now. Your daughter and her fiancé have approximately $200,000 in combined debt. He flipped through documents, each page a testament to financial irresponsibility. Credit cards maxed across 12 accounts, personal loans from 3 institutions, car loans for vehicles they can barely afford the insurance on. The Beaumont family cut Lemuel off 2 years ago. His mother Eleanor maintains appearances, keeps him on the charity circuit, but there's no money. The family fortune is tied up in trusts he can't access until he's 40, and only then if he meets certain conditions, which are stable marriage, legitimate heir, board approval, standard old money stuff. Walker showed me screenshots of Teresa's messages to her bridesmaids. Dad's company is worth hundreds of millions. He'll pay for everything. You should see his car. Then Lemuel's email to his mother. Homer Carroll will invest. The energy sector connections alone are worth millions. Problem solved, Mother. The wedding venue alone cost $75,000, Walker continued. They've put down a $5,000 deposit they borrowed from a friend. Been telling all the vendors the bride's father is covering everything. I studied each document methodically. engineer's eyes catching patterns, inconsistencies, lies built upon lies. Not angry, disappointment had replaced anger months ago. This was just data now, inputs for an equation. "What do you want to do with this?" Walker asked. "Nothing yet. Keep monitoring." I paid his fee in cash, thick envelope disappearing into his jacket. We walked separate directions, two strangers who'd happened to share a bench on a beautiful spring day. Back at the office, Marcus was waiting in the conference room. I drew on the whiteboard, Operation Wedding Gift. "Dramatic," Marcus observed. "Accurate." We spent 3 hours planning. Phase 1, reconnaissance, Walker's investigation, ongoing. Phase 2, documentation, wedding preparations, financial records. Phase 3, execution, the wedding itself. "You could just not go," Marcus suggested for the 100th time. "She needs to learn. They all do." "Homer, revenge fantasies are one thing. This isn't fantasy. This is education." Marcus studied me, recognizing the engineer at work again. "You're going to play along. Completely. Let them think they've won. Let them plan their manipulation. And then they get exactly what they've asked for." My phone buzzed. Text from Teresa. "Dad, can we meet for lunch next week? Need to discuss wedding details and our future as a family." "Love you." The words "love you" sat on the screen like foreign objects. 3 years of silence, then suddenly love when millions appeared. I typed back, "Of course, sweetheart." Named the place. Then opened Walker's latest report. More debt discovered. More lies documented. More evidence that my daughter had become someone I didn't recognize, or maybe had always been someone I'd refused to see clearly. The sun was setting over Austin, painting the conference room orange and gold. Marcus had gone home. I sat alone with my plans, my evidence, my calm certainty that July 15th would be educational for everyone involved. My phone buzzed again, Teresa sending restaurant suggestions, each one more expensive than the last. I smiled, not the bitter smile of recent days, but something colder, more precise, an engineer's smile. The solution to the equation was becoming clear. 2 weeks passed before our reunion lunch on May 3rd. I spent them running the company as usual, Marcus watching me with concern as Walker's daily updates documented Teresa's accelerating spending, designer clothes, spa treatments, all on credit cards approaching their limits. Eddie V's Prime Seafood stood like a temple to excess in downtown Austin's 2nd Street district. Teresa had chosen it, naturally. Valet parking, white tablecloths, the kind of place where they don't print prices on the menu, if you have to ask. She swept in 20 minutes late, wearing what Walker had informed me was a $3,000 Diane von Furstenberg dress, purchased 2 days ago on a nearly maxed Amex. Her arms were around me before I could stand properly. "Daddy!" The word rang across the restaurant. Other diners glanced over, seeing what she wanted them to see, a devoted daughter reuniting with her successful father. The performance continued through appetizers. She ordered the lobster bisque, the oyster sampler, talking about her simple tastes, while selecting the most expensive items. Her wedding ring caught the light with every gesture. 2 carats, Walker had discovered, purchased with a loan from Lemuel's gambling buddy. "Family bonds are forever," she said, reaching across to squeeze my hand. "These past years, I was so foolish, young. You understand, don't you?" Her transition to money was seamless, like watching a practiced pianist shift keys. The Beaumonts, they expect certain standards. Not ostentatious, just appropriate. You know how old families are. "I imagine," I said, cutting into my fish, "the venue needs a larger deposit. These historic places, they're so particular about timing." She laughed, bright and false. "Only $30,000, but it needs to be paid by next week or we lose the date." "That's quite a sum." Something flickered behind her eyes, frustration quickly masked. Fresh tears appeared, perfectly timed. "I just want my daddy there, walking me down the aisle. Isn't that what fathers dream of?" "Let me think about it." The mask slipped for a heartbeat. Her jaw tightened, knuckles white around her champagne flute. Then the sweet smile returned. "Of course, Daddy. Take all the time you need." The next week brought the full assault. Daily texts with venue photos, each message crafted to increase pressure. May 5th. The gardens are so beautiful in July. May 6th. Lemuel's family is inviting senators. Imagine the networking opportunities for your company. By May 8th, desperation crept in. The Beaumont's friends are watching everything. If we can't afford proper flowers, they'll think you're not really successful. May 9th revealed her true fears. Lemuel's mom is testing if you're really wealthy. She's that type. I responded to everything with calculated vagueness. Interesting. I'll consider it. We'll see. Marcus helped me record every call, document every text. The drive to Houston on May 15th took 3 hours. The Maybach's adaptive cruise control handled I-10's traffic, while I listened to Teresa's latest voicemails, each one more frantic than the last. River Oaks Country Club sprawled like old money made manifest, oak trees older than Texas statehood, lawns that cost more to maintain than most people's salaries. Lemuel had chosen it, wanting to impress. Walker's research showed he hadn't been a member for 2 years, but was trading on his family name for access. Lemuel entered the dining room with studied casualness. Designer suit, impeccable, handshake firm and evaluating. He had his mother's eyes, cold, calculating. Homer, finally meeting the man behind the success story. His smile never reached those eyes. Teresa's told me everything about Carol Energy. Everything she'd learned from Google, more likely. His pitch unfolded over lunch, polished but desperate underneath. The synergy between energy innovation and traditional oil infrastructure. That's the future. The Beaumont name opens doors your technology needs. Interesting perspective, I offered, giving him nothing. He tried another angle. That Maybach, the S680, must have run you what, $200,000? Beautiful machine. It serves its purpose. Teresa and Lemuel exchanged glances when I wouldn't discuss specific numbers. She jumped in, steering toward wedding planning, but Lemuel couldn't resist one more attempt. Teresa mentioned you're ready to invest in our future together. The words hung between us. I took a slow sip of water. We'll discuss everything at the wedding. May 20th's call came at 8 p.m., both of them on speaker, their final play. Dad, we need to be honest about something. Teresa's voice had lost its sweetness. Just a small financial hiccup, Lemuel added quickly. Temporary. $150,000 would cover the wedding and honeymoon. Consider it an investment in your daughter's happiness. We'll pay you back once my trust fund clears, Lemuel lied smoothly. Walker had confirmed the trust conditions, no access until 40, and only with board approval. That's substantial. I kept my voice level. I'll need to review my liquidity. The wedding is in 2 months, Dad. Teresa's voice turned arctic. We'll discuss it at the wedding. Their frustrated breathing filled the speaker before they managed strained goodbyes. I immediately dialed a number I'd been researching. Kevin, it's Homer Carroll. I have a special request for a wedding DJ gig in July. How do you feel about unusual playlist requests? June arrived with Texas summer heat, and my determination crystallizing into action. My home office had transformed into what Marcus called the war room. Multiple monitors displaying financial records, a timeline of Teresa's lies mapped across the wall, with red string connecting screenshots, receipts, and Walker's surveillance photos. Marcus arrived with coffee and his perpetual concern. You look like you're planning an invasion. Just a wedding gift. Sarah Kim, the video editor Marcus had recommended, arrived at noon. She was young, maybe 30, with purple-streaked hair and an expression that suggested she'd seen everything. Marcus had vouched for her discretion, and she'd signed an NDA without questions. This is intense, she said, reviewing the materials I'd assembled. Walker's photos showed Teresa and Lemuel shopping with credit cards, dining at restaurants they couldn't afford. Screenshots revealed Teresa's posts, mocking pathetic old people still working at 60. The centerpiece was Lemuel's email to potential investors, promising access to Carroll millions once he married in. Just present the facts, I instructed. No editorializing. Sarah worked for 3 days, crafting what she called the most savage wedding video ever. It opened sweetly, baby photos of Teresa, her first steps, kindergarten graduation, then the turn, her abandonment, the cruel words, the financial exploitation attempt, every lie documented, every manipulation exposed. This is brutal, Sarah said during the final review. You sure about this? Truth isn't brutal, it's necessary. The video ran 12 minutes, a life story that became a cautionary tale, ending with the current debt statements and the recorded phone calls begging for money. Kevin Martinez operated from a converted warehouse in East Austin, the kind of place where musicians came to record demos and DJs stored equipment for Austin's endless festival circuit. Young guy, maybe 28, with the confidence that came from spinning at SXSW after-parties. "Mr. Carroll," he greeted me on June 8th, his studio walls lined with mixing boards and speakers worth more than cars. "You're the energy company CEO. My mom loves what you're doing for renewable power. I need discretion more than admiration." His demeanor shifted, professional now. "Talk to me." "You're booked for the Beaumont Carroll wedding. July 15th, Four Seasons, Houston." "Yeah, good gig. They're paying, well, supposedly paying well. I need you to play a video during the reception, during what would typically be the father's speech moment." Kevin's eyes narrowed. "This sounds like drama." "It's a father's wedding gift. Nothing illegal. Nothing violent. Just truth." "For how much truth are we talking?" $5,000, cash, on top of whatever they're supposedly paying you. He whistled low. "That's serious truth money." I showed him the booking confirmation Teresa had forwarded me, his name clearly listed. He studied it, then me, weighing risks against reward. "The video will be on a USB drive. Plug and play. 12 minutes. "During the father's speech slot?" "Exactly. I'll give you the signal." Kevin leaned back in his chair, fingers drumming against the armrest. "For $5,000, I'll play your grocery list if you want." The next few days were technical preparation. The video file was compressed and tested on different systems: PCs, Macs, professional DJ equipment. Marcus suggested we test it on the actual Four Seasons system, but that was too risky. "What if the equipment fails?" Marcus asked during our June 12th planning session. "Backup plan?" I showed him the portable projector I'd purchased, small enough to fit in a briefcase, battery-powered, preloaded with the video. "You've thought of everything." Engineers plan for failure points. The gift box was Marcus's idea. Gold wrapping paper, elegant white bow. The USB drive nestled inside like jewelry. A father's wedding gift that would change everything. June 15th brought another call from Teresa, her voice syrupy with fake affection. "Dad, about your wedding gift? I have something special planned." "Oh." A pause. "Well, cash is always most practical for newlyweds. I think you'll find my gift memorable." Her suspicious silence stretched before forced enthusiasm kicked in. "Can't wait." The Tom Ford suit arrived June 16th, Marcus's insistence. "If you're going to destroy them, look impeccable doing it." Navy with subtle pinstripes, tailored perfectly. Not flashy, just undeniably expensive. I wrote a check for $1,000, the decoy gift. Just enough to seem reasonable, not enough to satisfy their greed. The real gift weighed nothing, but would cost them everything. Marcus and I did a final review. June 15th evening. The video played on his laptop. 12 minutes of documented truth. "There's no going back after this," he said quietly. "There never was. She made that choice 3 years ago." My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown Houston number. "Mr. Carroll, this is Eleanor Beaumont. I understand we'll be family soon. I'd like to meet before the wedding. Are you available June 20th? I stared at the message. The Queen requesting an audience. Another player entering the game. The drive to Houston on June 20th felt different. I was entering enemy territory. Eleanor Beaumont had chosen the battlefield. Her River Oaks mansion, 20,000 square feet of old Texas oil money, made manifest. The GPS led me through streets where the houses got progressively larger, the lawns more manicured, until I reached wrought iron gates that belonged in a European estate. Her butler, James, because of course he was named James, answered the door with the kind of professional assessment that suggested he'd been measuring guests' worth for decades. The foyer could have held my entire apartment, marble and crystal competing for attention. Eleanor kept me waiting 15 minutes in what she probably called the parlor. Power move. I studied the oil paintings of stern Beaumont ancestors, men who'd pulled fortunes from Texas ground when drilling was more gambling than science. She entered like royalty. Chanel suit in cream, pearls that probably cost more than most people's cars, silver hair arranged in a style that required weekly maintenance, at prices I didn't want to imagine. Her eyes were Lemuel's, cold, calculating, measuring. "So," She sat without offering me anything to drink. You're Teresa's father. That pause before father carried the weight of judgment. Eleanor, I didn't add pleased to meet you. We both knew pleasure had nothing to do with this. Your company has done quite well recently. She emphasized recently like an accusation. Energy solutions, is it? Sounds rather vague. Battery storage systems for renewable energy. The technology is quite specific, actually. How long have you been, she waved a manicured hand, successful? Success has many definitions. Her smile could have frozen vodka. Financial success. The only kind that matters when discussing my son's future. Interesting philosophy. She leaned forward slightly. Teresa mentioned you're helping with wedding expenses. She's mentioned many things, I'm sure. The Beaumonts have a certain reputation to maintain. Standards. I trust you understand that whoever joins our family must be able to contribute appropriately. Your son seems to have his own financial situation well in hand. Something flickered across her face. We both knew about Lemuel's debts, his trust fund restrictions. This was poker, and she was checking her cards. I had you investigated, Mr. Carroll. No pretense now. Walker Investigations does thorough work, though I wonder why you'd need them yourself. The air between us crystallized. She knew about Walker, which meant she knew I knew about the debts, the lies, everything. Due diligence, I said simply. Indeed. She stood, our meeting apparently over. I hope you're not planning anything inappropriate for the wedding. Just a father's gift to his daughter. Her eyes narrowed. Lemuel is my only son, Mr. Carroll. I protect what's mine. As do I. Teresa arrived then, as if summoned by the tension. Her panic at seeing us together was almost comical, eyes darting between us, calculating what might have been said. Mother Beaumont was just leaving, weren't you? Her voice pitched high with stress. Eleanor's look could have stripped paint. We'll continue this at the wedding, Mr. Carroll. After she left, Teresa turned on me. What did she want? To measure my wallet, I suspect. The wedding is in 3 weeks, Dad. The vendors need payment. So you've mentioned. Daily. June 25th brought the most dramatic performance yet. Teresa called sobbing. I could hear the forced tears, the practiced hitches in her breathing. Everything's falling apart. The florist wants $50,000 by tomorrow, or they're canceling. The caterer is threatening to pull out. Dad, please. The wedding is in 3 weeks. Surely they can wait. That's exactly why they need payment now. It's industry standard. I'll call them directly. Work something out. No. The panic was real now. I mean, that's not necessary. Just send the money. Please, Daddy. That word again, weaponized. I'll bring a check to the wedding. Silence, then barely controlled. The wedding might not happen without immediate payment. Then we'll settle everything at the wedding. All of it. Lemuel took the phone, his veneer cracking. Sir, this is really urgent. My family's reputation. The wedding, not before. The invitation to their apartment came June 28th. One last desperate attempt. The address Walker had provided was confirmed. A nice enough place in Montrose, but nothing like the River Oaks mansion Lemuel implied he owned. The apartment told the story Eleanor didn't want public. Expensive furniture mixed with obvious gaps where pieces had been sold. Past due notices on the kitchen counter, hastily covered with magazines when I entered. Lemuel sweating through his shirt, despite aggressive air conditioning. Teresa's final manipulation was almost admirable in its audacity. She produced medical paperwork, some clinic letterhead about stress treatment. The doctor says I need to reduce anxiety. These wedding concerns are affecting my health. The papers were probably real. Stress was clearly eating at them both. I pulled out the $1,000 check, placed it on their coffee table. Their faces fell like dropped masks. This is ridiculous, Lemuel exploded, his composure finally shattered. We know you have millions. Teresa grabbed his arm, hissing something about patience. Her smile returned, brittle as winter ice. The rest at the wedding? Everything gets settled at the wedding. The drive back to Austin on June 30th was peaceful. The video USB sat in my pocket like a promise. Marcus texted confirmation. DJ Kevin is ready. Equipment tested. Walker's final report arrived as I crossed the Colorado River. They borrowed another $10,000 from a loan shark. Interest rate 30%. Desperate doesn't begin to describe it. 15 days until truth. 15 days until... My phone rang. Eleanor Beaumont. Mr. Carroll, I've done some additional research. We need to discuss what you're really planning. I know you hired Walker. The line went dead before I could respond. Eleanor knew. The question was, what would she do about it? The 2 weeks since Eleanor's threatening call had passed in careful silence. No more texts from Teresa, no desperate voicemails from Lemuel. July 15th arrived with Houston's humid dawn, the air already thick enough to swim through. I ate breakfast methodically, eggs, toast, black coffee, while reviewing the video one final time on my laptop. 12 minutes, that would change everything. The USB drive sat beside my plate, innocuous as a breath mint. The 3-hour drive to Houston passed in air-conditioned comfort, the Maybach gliding through Texas heat mirages. The USB rested in my inside jacket pocket, its weight both negligible and enormous. I'd checked it 5 times before leaving, paranoid about corruption or failure. Engineers plan for contingencies, but revenge allows only one shot. The Four Seasons rose from Houston's downtown like a promise of luxury. The valet's eyes widened at the Maybach. Even here it commanded respect. My reflection in the hotel's glass doors showed what I wanted. Expensive suit, calm expression, determined eyes. A successful father attending his daughter's wedding. Nothing more. Inside, the transformation was complete. The ballroom had become a palace of white and gold, orchids flown in from Thailand, crystal chandeliers multiplied by mirrors, enough fabric to sail a ship. Walker's research said this display cost over $100,000, all unpaid for. Guests arrived in waves of designer clothing and practiced smiles. Oil executives with their third wives, society matrons clutching pearls worth more than houses, young entrepreneurs hoping to network their way up. Several recognized me. Homer Carroll, the algorithm genius. Didn't expect to see you here. Teresa never mentioned. That Japanese deal was brilliant. We should talk. Table 12 sat in Siberia, far corner partially hidden by a decorative screen. The insult wasn't subtle. Teresa wanted my money, not my presence. The other guests at my table were similar outcasts, poor relations, plus ones who didn't belong, obligatory invites. Marcus appeared beside me, having entered separately as planned. DJ's ready, equipment tested, your video's loaded, and if it fails, backup projector in my car. We've got this, Homer. Eleanor Beaumont entered like winter arriving. Her gaze swept the room, found me, held for 3 seconds of pure ice. She knew something, but not everything. The uncertainty would be eating her alive, a feeling she wasn't accustomed to. Teresa materialized in a cloud of white silk and desperation. The dress cost $30,000, according to Walker, bought on credit with promises of daddy's payment. She floated toward me, cameras following, playing the devoted daughter. Daddy, you came. Her embrace was theater, perfume unable to mask the fear sweat underneath. Did you bring it? She whispered, smile never wavering. I brought something special. A flash of concern crossed her features before the mask returned. She paraded me to her bridesmaids, each introduction a commercial for my success. This is my father. He owns Carroll Energy Solutions, the renewable energy company, the one with the Japanese partnership. Never, this is my dad. Always the money, the status, the usefulness. Lemuel approached with his politician's handshake, all teeth and calculation. His tux was Armani, his confidence borrowed. Mr. Carroll, so glad you could make it. Teresa says you have good news. The best news? You'll see at the reception. His eyes lit with greed. Looking forward to it. The ceremony unfolded with painful irony. Teresa promised honesty, devotion, partnership. Every word a lie wrapped in white satin. Lemuel vowed to cherish and provide. While drowning in debt, he couldn't escape. The Beaumont family occupied the front rows like an occupying force, displaying wealth most of them no longer possessed. My position emphasized my outsider status. Back row, side aisle, barely visible. During "Speak now or forever hold your peace," I allowed myself a small smile. Eleanor caught it, her eyes narrowing to slits. The kiss was performance. The applause was obligation. The recessional was victory. Teresa practically glowing as she pissed, now officially Mrs. Beaumont, one step closer to the money she thought was coming. Cocktail hour became a networking frenzy. My presence had been noticed, my success Googled. Business cards appeared like magic tricks. That Tesla partnership must have been lucrative. We should discuss synergies. Your algorithm could revolutionize our operations. Teresa circled like a shark, monitoring my interactions, calculating each connection's value. Lemuel cornered me near the bar, whiskey breath preceding him. About that investment discussion, Mr. Carroll? Let's wait for my speech. Your speech? His eagerness was pitiful. You're speaking? Wouldn't miss the opportunity. The wedding coordinator appeared, clipboard clutched like a life preserver. Mr. Carroll, we're starting speeches in 10 minutes. The DJ has your presentation ready. Her tone suggested Kevin had shared enough to concern her. Are you certain about the timing? I checked the USB one final time, though I knew Kevin had already loaded it. Right after the best man. It's perfect. She nodded uncertainly, professionalism warring with instinct. If you're sure? I walked toward the ballroom, feeling the weight of the moment approaching. Behind me, the coordinator spoke urgently into her headset. She sensed the storm coming, but couldn't name it. The doors opened. 200 guests settled into their seats. Showtime. The best man's toast had just ended to polite applause, something generic about love conquering all, friendship lasting forever. The MC, a local radio personality, Lemuel knew, grabbed the microphone with practiced enthusiasm. Now, the bride's father would like to say a few words. Teresa's shock was genuine. She hadn't expected me to speak, had deliberately not asked me to. I walked to the front, every step measured, while Kevin took the USB with a subtle nod. Eleanor's attention sharpened to a blade's edge. She sensed danger, but couldn't identify its source. Lemuel looked eager, probably expecting a funding announcement. The guests settled into polite attention. My daughter, I began, voice carrying clearly, has taught me many lessons over the years. Teresa relaxed slightly, thinking this was heading toward sentiment. 3 years ago, she taught me about ambition, about the drive to succeed, to reach higher, to never settle for less than you deserve. Nods from the audience. American dream stuff. Safe territory. She taught me that family means different things to different people. I let that hang for a moment. Some see family as an obligation, others as an opportunity. A few uncertain smiles. The tone was shifting, but they couldn't place how. Today I want to return the favor, to teach her something in return. I paused, meeting Teresa's eyes. I've prepared a visual presentation about our family's journey. Dad? Teresa stood partially, voice carrying warning. That's really not necessary. Oh, but it is. Education always is. Kevin, please play the video. The lights dimmed. The screen descended. The projector hummed to life. Baby photos filled the screen. Teresa's first steps, kindergarten graduation, the science fair where she won first place. The guests smiled, made appropriate sounds. Normal wedding slideshow territory. Then the audio kicked in. Why would I invite my broke father? Teresa's recorded voice cut through the ballroom like a scalpel. The image on screen, her Instagram post mocking pathetic old people. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Turn it off. Teresa lunged toward the DJ booth. This is fake. He's lying. But the video continued relentlessly. Text messages filled the screen. Dad's company is worth hundreds of millions. He'll pay for everything. Just need to manipulate him a little longer. Old fool probably thinks I actually care. Lemuel's emails appeared next. Homer Carroll will invest. The energy sector connections alone are worth millions. Problem solved, Mother. Then the financial records. Credit card statements maxing out at $50,000. Personal loans from 3 companies. The wedding venue contract with only $5,000 paid on a $75,000 bill. This is defamation, Eleanor stood, voice cutting through the chaos. Stop this immediately. I'll have you arrested. The video ignored her. Teresa's social media posts scrolled past. Some people stay small, while others of us reach for greatness. Each word dripping with contempt for anyone without money. The climax arrived. A phone recording from 2 days ago. Teresa talking to her maid of honor. He's so pathetic. Actually thinks I want him at the wedding. I just need his money. Once we get it, I never have to see him again. The final frame held for 10 seconds. Love shouldn't have a price tag. Truth shouldn't have an expiration date. Homer Carroll. Lights up. Pandemonium. Phones appeared in every hand, recording the aftermath. The video would be viral within hours. Teresa stood frozen, designer makeup streaming down her face, mouth opening and closing without sound. "I'll sue you!" She finally found her voice, screaming at Kevin. "This is illegal! You're all going to jail!" Lemuel grabbed for the microphone, his composure shattered. "This is doctored! Deep fakes! None of this is real!" Eleanor's hand cracked across Lemuel's face, with enough force to snap his head sideways. "You told me her father was investing. You said the money was guaranteed." The slap echoed. Silence for a heartbeat. Then explosion. Business partners stood to leave, their disgust evident. Society matrons whispered behind fans and programs, the gossip too delicious to contain. Younger guests live-streamed the meltdown, commentary running in real time. "This is insane. The bride's a gold digger. The groom's broke. It's all fake." "Best wedding ever. This is better than reality TV." Teresa spun toward me, her face a masterpiece of ruined expectations. "How could you do this to me? I'm your daughter." "I gave you exactly what you gave me." My voice stayed level, calm. Truth. The wedding coordinator tried to restore order, voice cracking through the sound system. "Ladies and gentlemen, please, if we could all just—" But half the guests were already leaving. Lemuel's business partners surrounded him, demanding explanations he couldn't provide. The Beaumont family relations retreated, like tide going out, distancing themselves from the disaster. Eleanor's voice rose above the chaos. "This wedding is over. I'm calling my lawyer. Annulment proceedings start tomorrow." "Mother, please." Lemuel reached for her. "Don't touch me. You're no son of mine until this is resolved." Teresa collapsed into a chair, $1,000 mascara painting abstract art down her cheeks. Her bridesmaids had vanished, rats from a sinking ship. The $100,000 fairy tale had become a nightmare in 12 minutes. Marcus appeared at my elbow. "Time to go." I walked to the gift table, placed a single envelope among the wrap boxes, the $1,000 check I'd promised. More than she deserved, less than she'd demanded. At the door, fingers clamped on my arm. Teresa, desperate now, ego shattered. "Please, let me explain. It's not what it looks like." For the first time in 3 years, her emotion was real, raw, unfiltered by greed. "Tomorrow?" I removed her hand gently. "If you want to talk, call me tomorrow." I left her sobbing in the wreckage of her schemes, while Eleanor's voice rose in the background, each word a lash across Lemuel's future. The July heat hit like a slap outside, but cleaner than the atmosphere inside. Marcus waited by the valet stand. "Feel better?" "No." I handed my ticket to the valet. "But I feel finished." July 16th dawned with my phone showing 47 missed calls from Teresa, the same number I'd made trying to reach her over 3 years. The poetry wasn't lost on me. Houston's morning news led with the story, "Beaumont wedding disaster goes viral." Someone had live-streamed the entire video reveal, 2 million views and climbing. The comments section was brutal. Teresa had become a meme for gold digging gone wrong. Eleanor Beaumont's text arrived at noon. "The engagement has been terminated. The Beaumont family has no further connection to your daughter. Send no money to anyone claiming otherwise." Lemuel's family released a statement through their attorney, distancing themselves from recent unfortunate events and wishing Ms. Carroll the best in her future endeavors. "Corporate speak for exile." Marcus called while I was packing. "Video hit 5 million views. News stations want interviews." No interviews. This wasn't about fame. What was it about? I thought for a moment. Education. 2 days passed before Teresa asked to meet. Her text was different. No manipulation, no sweetness. Just, "Can we talk? Please." July 18th, a small cafe in Houston's Montrose district. Far from River Oaks, far from anyone who mattered in her former world. She arrived without makeup, wearing jeans and a simple t-shirt. The designer facade had crumbled entirely. She looked older, exhausted, defeated in a way that transcended embarrassment. "I've lost everything." No preamble, no performance. "Lemuel's gone. His lawyers sent papers saying I committed fraud by misrepresentation." "Did you?" "Yes." The admission came without hesitation. The apartment's being repossessed. The cars. Everything was leveraged against your money. She stared at her coffee, unable to meet my eyes. "Everyone's seen the video. I can't go anywhere without being recognized. Someone threw a drink at me yesterday. Called me a parasite? I waited. Sometimes silence teaches more than words. I'm sorry. The words came broken, real. I was so wrong. About everything. About you. About what matters. What do you think matters now? I don't know anymore. I thought it was money, status, the right husband. Now, she finally looked up. Mom would be ashamed of what I became. That landed. Sarah would have been horrified, heartbroken. She'd raised Teresa better than this. I wanted success so badly, I forgot the difference between earning it and stealing it. Tears now, but not the calculated kind. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Nothing. She seemed surprised by her own answer. I deserve nothing from you. I just wanted to apologize. Really apologize. Not for money or help, just because it's the right thing to do. For the first time in years, I believed her. 2 days later, I invited her to my Austin office. She drove up in a borrowed Corolla, the Porsche long gone. Walking through Carroll Energy Solutions, showing her the labs, the server rooms, the team of engineers building the future, her eyes opened to what she'd never bothered to understand. You built this? With Marcus, with a team, with work. I never asked what you did, never cared about the actual achievement, just the money it represented. We stood in my corner office, Austin spreading below us. You wanted wealth, here it is. Built on patents, innovation, 16-hour days, not manipulation. I don't understand why you're showing me this. I'm offering you a job. Her shock was genuine. What? Entry-level data analyst, $40,000 a year, standard benefits. You'll report to Jennifer Chen in analysis. Not me. No special treatment. Screw up. You're fired like anyone else. You're giving me a job after everything? I'm giving you a chance to earn respect, your own and others. Take it or leave it. I'll take it. No hesitation. When do I start? August 1st. Find an apartment you can afford. No roommates who'll recognize you from the video. Start fresh. She moved to East Austin, 10 minutes from where I'd lived when she'd called me a failure. The irony wasn't lost on either of us. Her first day at Carroll Energy was brutal. Everyone knew who she was, what she'd done, but she showed up, day after day. I watched from a distance as she learned systems she'd never cared about, stayed late reading technical manuals, brought lunch from home instead of expensive restaurants. Her first paycheck made her cry, $340 after taxes, less than she used to spend on shoes, but also pride, the first honest money she'd earned in years. Lemuel sent pathetic emails begging for investment, promising partnerships, offering everything but an apology. I deleted them unread after the first few. Eleanor attempted to sue for defamation. My lawyers laughed it off. Truth is an absolute defense. By late August, Teresa had earned something like respect from her coworkers. Not friendship yet, but acknowledgement that she was trying. Really trying. August 25th, she invited me to dinner, a taco place on Riverside, nothing fancy. She insisted on paying with her paycheck. I understand why you did it, she said over cheap beer and excellent carnitas. The video, the humiliation, I needed to see myself clearly. Do you? I see someone who confused price with value, who thought love was transaction. She managed a small smile. The therapy helps. Company insurance covers it. Do you understand the real lesson? That money means nothing without character. That family isn't about what you can get, but what you give. And that redemption is harder than destruction, but possible. We ate in comfortable silence for a while. Not forgiveness yet, that would take time, but a beginning. That night, alone in my apartment, I placed the family photo back on the shelf. Sarah, young Teresa, and me at Padre Island, all sunburned and laughing. Before cancer, before greed, before the break. Some lessons cost everything to learn. The price of this one had been 3 years of silence, public humiliation, and $1,000. But maybe, just maybe, we'd both found something worth more than money, a chance to rebuild what greed had destroyed. Time would tell if the foundation would hold. Engineers know that the strongest structures aren't the ones that never break, but the ones rebuilt with knowledge of their failure points. Teresa was learning to be an engineer of her own life now, one honest day at a time. If you like this story, please like this video. subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.